Just real quick before we get started. Again, you guys know I do a big thing about the T-shirts. And our thoughts and prayers are with those affected by the hurricanes in both North and South Carolina. We as an organization have partnered with Visit North Carolina and Discover South Carolina to show our support for the recovery efforts, and with this T-shirt. 100% of the proceeds are going to go to the two states' hurricane relief funds, because the obvious statement on the T-shirt is we share more than a state line. We share a spirit. The spirit of the Carolinas can't be dampened by adversity. To find out more information about the T-shirts, you can go to, there's a link at the Panthers.com website. For those who want to buy, hashtag CareOlinas, CareOlinas. And again, it's because we do share, again, more than the state line. And I think it's important that everybody understands that we most certainly do care about our folks in the Carolinas, our fan base, the people here in this community. We want to do whatever we can to help support them in this recovery effort. It's a very serious set of circumstances and situation. I know you all have been following the news, and we want to do our part. Okay, and again, 100% of these proceeds will go to the two states' hurricane relief funds. All right, thank you guys for that. All right, I'm ready.
Apparently, the defensive back for the Falcons will not be suspended for the hit on Cam Newton. Your reaction to that, and the NFL has talked a lot about concussions. Where is the NFL on that?
Well, I just appreciate the fact that during the game the referees, went through the process. Obviously they contacted New York, and again the process worked. Whatever's decided from this point on, that goes to the league office. But I do appreciate the fact that the referees showed obviously the willingness to do the things that they needed to do, and they did. And I think that's important. It's sending a message to the players that, again, shots to the head of other players are not going to be tolerated. And I just think, again, it's something that we have to understand. There was an emphasis on sliding quarterbacks, protecting the quarterbacks, was made this off season going into the regular season. And again, players were told that, if something like this were to happen, you could be ejected. And so I think the referees judged it was an egregious hit, and they made their decision, which, again, obviously because it was in our favor, I agreed with. But, it's, again, it's all part of the game, and it's got to be taken out of the game. It can't be accepted.
How's Cam doing, Ron?
He's fine. He's fine. I mean, again, the doctors did exactly what they were supposed to. They put him right in the protocol. They went through the processes when they had him in the tent, and he was brought back out to play. And because of the long delay, obviously, to go through the process of, talking with New York, reviewing the tape, I believe is what they do when they're up there watching it, that the decision was made and they went forward with it.
Because of the competition committee you're on and stuff like that, is it enough to eject a guy in situations like
very
this?
much so. I believe it is, and I believe it sends us a very strong message to the rest of the players in the league. Now, what they decide and what they determine after that, is they go from there. Because the hard part is when you start asking people to judge intent, what the intent is, you could get it wrong, and that wouldn't be fair either. So, again, when whatever they decide for the rest of the discipline, that's up to the league. But again, we've got to understand that this player, for all intents and purposes, could have been trying to slow down, because again, Cam is a tremendous runner. I mean, he's one of the best running quarterbacks ever, and again, this guy was coming in full speed. So again, the referees have to take in a lot of information. The league office has to take in a lot of information, and we'll just go from there.
What was your conversation, if you've had one, with the guys after all of that, after the game wrapped, and especially, kind of seeing Torrey respond by pushing Kazia away from the
biggest thing
situation?
more so than anything else is again, we have to be smart about that, because you do not want to have it spill over and cause something else to happen. You have to be smart in terms of, you're trying to win a game. But when a guy comes in and defends his teammate, again, you appreciate that because that's his teammate. He's defending him. But we just have to be smart how we do it.
Should there have been, obviously those two penalties were called. Should there have been a third when Tack McKinley came in and
There was a third call. They had called the unnecessary roughness, which led to the ejection, but then they were also one they called on us and one they called on them.
I know a few years ago, Cam didn't really feel safe out there. He said he didn't feel safe on the field at times. Do sense that he has a better feel for
I would
that?
like to think, he feels that things are in place to protect him and protect the rest of the quarterbacks. Last week they had one where they called somebody going into his legs, and they called this one yesterday. So, again, I think the awareness has most certainly been heightened, and again, it's about player safety.
Sometimes it's paired off on the quarterbacks, but certainly it's a league-wide look at what concussion means. You've been a player,
Yep.
assistant coach. Does the league do them enough? Is this the right tone?
Yeah,
for
I think
that
it is the right
stuff?
tone. I think it's a good start. And again, after each season, the league will evaluate it and see if they're doing enough. And obviously, if they feel they are, then we'll just go forward. And if they don't, they'll make changes. And I think that's the thing that everybody has to understand is it's about player safety, getting the game to a different tone on the field in terms of players, being hit and hitting. It's a game if played correctly, played, with taking the head out can be as dramatic as any, and we're seeing the effects of it. We're seeing a lot of games that are being played the right way. So I think this is, we're headed in the right direction.
Ron, 14 receptions for Christian on 15 targets. Just going back and looking at it, how did you feel about the way that he was utilized both in the checkdowns and some of the more design plays?
Well, that's some of the things that we're looking at, obviously, and when you see him catching the checkdowns, that's obviously telling you that the quarterback's getting through his progression and making good decisions because of the positive yards that were gained, and that's how we want to use him. We want to be able to use him and all our backs that way. And the tight end for that matter, because there were a couple opportunities we had where we could have got the ball to the tight end. Unfortunately, we didn't. There were some really good decisions made by our quarterback. He played very well, and again, it's unfortunate we didn't pull the victory out at the end.
Ron, as you troubleshoot this defense after yesterday,
Oh, yeah.
where do you start? Where do you even start?
Well, again, the best thing about some of the mistakes that we made are all correctable, and those are things that we'll get an opportunity to work on. We'll work on as coaches today and tomorrow, and then once we get on the practice field with the players on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we'll most certainly work to correct those as well. We've got another good football team coming in this Sunday that runs the ball well, and so we've got to work on these things and get these things corrected. We're playing a group of young guys and giving some young guys opportunities on the football field, but that's not an excuse, because we got to make sure they're coached up properly and that we can put them in position to be successful.
What was the difference in terms of execution? Was it mental stuff or?
It was a little bit of both. A little bit of physical nature, a little bit of mental nature. A couple times not knowing how to fit or where to fit, and a couple times playing behind, playing a little lazy. And that we can't accept that, and we won't tolerate that. And again, we as coaches got to make sure we're giving them a chance to succeed.
And that's not a word that I think you've ever used to describe this defense.
Right, and I was disappointed last night, as you can tell by my tone. It's just, again, we have a standard. This standard has been here since Sean McDermott was here with us, Steve Wilkes was with us, and now Eric Washington, and we're not going to tolerate it. We're going to put players out on the field that we believe are doing it our way, playing hard, and giving us every opportunity to succeed.
Will there be some changes on that side of the ball?
If they're necessary, we will. And again, we're continually going to evaluate what we did and how we did it. Some guys played extremely well. Some guys came out and gave tremendous effort, and you want to single a group out, single our offensive line out. Here's a group of guys that were just put together on Wednesday, and we went through a lot of combinations of guys between Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday trying to figure out what our best five were going to be. And after talking with Coach Turner and Coach Matsko and Coach Wharton, we decided that that was the group that was going to start the game off. We played Chris a little bit longer than I wanted to, but when we went over and asked him, and he said, Coach, he told Coach he could keep going. He wanted to go back out, so we kept him on the field. And that combination of five guys played hard, and they fought, and at the end of the game, they gave us a chance.
Back on McCaffrey, where did his pass catching rate when you guys were?
It was very high. It was very high. In fact, there were some teams that talked about him playing the slot position as well. I know that when we went out, we spent a lot of time watching him catch the ball. Probably the biggest thing that we had to our benefit was we have Lance on our staff, and Lance was able to say that, hey, this guy is a receiver coming out of the backfield is tremendous. And we were very fortunate to have a little bit of insight as to what he's capable of.
On Chris Clark, beyond even just the fact that he played every single snap, how did you feel he did just in his
Played well.
performance throughout the game?
He played very well. He battled. I mean, again, think about it. We had a guy starting at right guard for the first time. We moved a guy back from left tackle to right tackle and brought a guy in, off the street, started on Wednesday. and he was, and he was more than prepared. Now he's got a lot to learn still, in terms of knowing what we're doing. But based on the way he played, you have to give him. You don't have to, but I would. I'd give him credit for a great effort.
What is your level of concern with Cersei's situation, and do you look to restock that secondary with somebody else?
Well, there was a little concern. I haven't talked to RV about any of the injuries yet, but looking at what we got from Colin and then what we got from Rashawn, we gave Rashawn a little bit more of an opportunity and really wanted to see what he could do. And again, thought both those guys played well. So there is concern, obviously, for players' health. But at the same time, we have to make sure that the guys that are going to give it, going to get opportunities are ready to play.
Along that offensive line, how helpful is it to have a guy like Greg Van Roten that's been in the system next to Chris Clark so he can kind of help him and guide him as they're...
That's a little bit of both, but again, Chris is a veteran guy. This, I believe, is his 7th or 8th year. A smart football player. He understands the game. He knows what it takes. Just probably prior to breaking the huddle, they probably talked real quick about, hey, this is going to happen or that's going to happen. We're going to try and do this. And, just again, knowing how smart, he is, he was able to decipher it and go out and do it.
Ron, we're used to seeing Peppers near the quarterback a lot. Hadn't seen it too much. What's going on with him the first two games?
The big thing right now is just we're working him back in. His reps are not as high as they typically are. And as he continues to get into the type of shape he's capable of being in, I thought last week he played very well against Dallas. This week he just, again, played good. But I do agree. He didn't see him around the ball, but he's working at it. He's getting himself back into football shape. Typically, he's played you play about 2 or 3 games before you get your feet under you. And I believe he's at that point now. I really do. And I expect him to continue to play the way he has. And he will. He's that kind of player.
Atlanta in general counteract your pass rush?
Well, I think first of all, when a team runs the ball successfully, that's part of the problem because now their play action gets you. I thought they threw some quick balls, some 3-step stuff, a lot of bootleg. I think there was 5 in the game, I believe. Waggle action in terms of trying to slow down the pass rush. They didn't get into enough third and longs. You can get a team in the 3rd and longs, you can cut your pass rush loose. We didn't get enough of that. And so, again, as I said, it all starts with us on the coaching side, me in particular, because I am a defensive head coach, and those are things we got to get corrected.
You've worked with Cam for so long and trying to take what the defense gives you. It seems like he's really gotten the message through these first 2 games. How do you balance that, check downs, with also the need to get vertical?
Well, again, I think it's all about the play call, and there were a couple opportunities that he cut it loose, which was great to see. And again, it's just now a matter of growing because one thing we all got to understand too is Coach Turner's learning and understanding the guys that we have out there, especially the quarterback. And so I think as he continues to develop his chemistry with the play calling for our offense, I think you'll start to see things evolve and change a little bit into what we do and what he wants us to do as an offense.
You mentioned a few times that with DJ, the yards after catch is something that was really attractive during the pre-Jeff prop. When you see that finally on display yesterday, does it at all alter the plan for him as far as integrating him?
Well, again, I think what it is it's about getting to know and understand our guys and what they're capable of. I think we've always felt that about DJ, and this was an opportunity. He showed us. So, again, I think a lot of it does have to do with the play call, but also with the decisions made by the quarterback. We ran that same exact play earlier, and it was one of the deep shots that Cam took. Now you come back, and obviously we saw it. Coach Turner, hey, let's run this and let's look for this, and that's exactly what we got out of it.
You in your long career at this point, getting longer, you faced some adversity early on in your career. Steve Wilkes and Sean McDermott are now facing quite a bit of adversity in their respective programs. What kinds of things did you learn from your experience? What do you think they will take, knowing them so well, what they're going to take from these last couple of weeks?
Don't listen to you guys. I think the biggest thing is more so than anything else, and I have thought about the both of them a lot because I do follow what's going on with them. But they just got to stick true to who they are and learn and be willing to learn. I mean, believe me, you guys know, and I've said it, I've made a lot of mistakes my first 2 seasons, and probably mistakes that cost us opportunities to win a few more games. But during that process, I took everything to heart. I learned. I grew and again tried not to make the same mistake twice. But both those guys will be tested. I mean, the tough thing for Sean was that they won so quickly last year, and I think expectations are really high there, and they're still developing their team. For Steve, it's a young group of guys that are learning. It's their first shot. It's his first shot. He's got a lot of guys that are getting their first shot, especially, Al Holcomb went with him as his coordinator. Al's learning for the first time. So you have to stick to what you've done and what you believe in and be ready to adapt and grow and learn.
In the past, sometimes I remember you saying that occasionally you put too much on a rookie's plate.
Yep.
Was that at all the case? Has that been the case at all with DJ?
I think with DJ, we've put a lot on his plate, but I think he can handle it. I really do. I'm going to say it. I disagree with the pass interference. I thought it was a great break. In fact, I kind of felt that he got to the point where they bumped at pretty much the same time. I really do. I really feel that the kid's competitive. He works hard. He's learning. He's got to learn to play a little more disciplined. He reminds me of another guy that we had here a while ago that had to learn that. And he'll learn and he'll grow and he'll get better and better. But we have put a lot on him, Joe, but doing so, I believe he can handle it.
The rookie, what about DJ Moore? Same question.
Yeah, but I think we got to put more on his plate. I do, and just looking at some of the things that we've done, things that we've done in practice. I think that we can stress him more and ask more of him. We do have him doing a lot on special teams, and that is one of the factors too that's kind of probably taken away from some of his opportunities on offense. I think when you lose the guys that you've lost, whether it be Demir or Curtis, the fallback is to have DJ do more.
Is he still trying to do all three positions, or have you?
We've limited a little bit of that as well to take a little bit off of his plate because it is a lot, and but opportunities, he's earning opportunities, and I think those opportunities will continue to grow for him.
Coach, obviously, like a whole lot was made about Julio Jones coming into the game, but he finished with 64 yards, which matched Calvin Ridley, and then he also had 0 touchdowns. How would you assess James's coverage on Julio?
I think James plays Julio very well, and I'm trying to, the one thing that we've got to understand too as a defense is it's not just about the one guy, because you get caught up on trying to play the one guy, you miss out on some of the other guys, and they did a nice job of spreading the ball. When you go back and look at the amount of receivers that they threw the ball to, they used all the tight ends, they used the backs out of the backfield. They did a nice job, and the thing that we have to do is we've got to understand it's not just about Julio. I mean, again, James, we matched James up with him. James ran with him all over the field, played physical, played smart, did a great job, gave us an opportunity at the end because of the way he played. But some of us on the other side, we didn't make the plays when we had chances. So we have to make sure that we balance that in what we do as a defense when we get ready to play them again.
It's an important performance from James against Julio, being that now this week he's got A.J. Green, and there's another big matchup the week after that.
Absolutely, and it just keeps going, and that's the beauty of having the type of corners we do right now. I mean, we haven't had this in a while. We have a chance to have some continuity at the position, which we hadn't had in a while, because this is, go back and look at it, this is the 8th different group of defensive backs we've played with at the beginning of the year, and I just think that these two guys are corners that give us an opportunity. And Captain's played well for us at the nickel, and then Corn getting an opportunity to play yesterday was also good to see. So, we're seeing some good positive vibes from our corners, from our secondary.